Thank you so much. All right, to get both sides of the issues, let's bring in our left-right panel. On the right, we are joined by Republican strategist Katie Frost. On the left, we have Democratic strategist and former Democrat New York State Senator Dave Carlucci. So ladies first, Katie, your thoughts?
Well, it's great to see you again, Lydia. You know, when I see these kind of protests happening in these left-leaning cities, all I keep thinking is, wouldn't it be amazing if the leadership in these cities cared as much about the people who break the law as they do about the people who are there to enforce it? If they just did their job and secured their cities, we wouldn't be in these places to begin with. We wouldn't have to be sending in the National Guard. This has gotten out of control. And the idea that somehow we can trust these people to secure their cities when they haven't done it for years is ludicrous. And if they're not going to protect our agents who are out there enforcing the law, then we're going to have to send in our troops to do it.
And Dave, you have to admit what John Huddy just showed us. That's pretty disturbing. The guillotine, your thoughts?
Well, look, we could go through any city in America. We could point a camera wherever we like and make a story about it. But you saw the cameraman and the reporter right there. It seemed pretty quiet, pretty peaceful. What seems to be agitating this situation is when the National Guard gets moved in. And that's where all of these problems seem to have arisen from. I think that if we're talking about solving crime, that's a different story. And this keeps getting melted together. This isn't solving any crime. This isn't fixing the problems. What really will fix the problem is working together with the local officials. Even if it's a Democrat and it's a Republican from the White House, look, we've got to work together and see things, try to see things from the same side. And I think that to say that the mayors and the governors aren't caring about people's public safety is not a fair statement. And it's just a breakdown in terms of the leadership from the White House to actually work with these governors, work with these mayors, even though they disagree on policy. They need to see that they're trying to come from the same place, if that is true. And that's why a lot of these mayors and governors don't really think that the president is sincere in terms of trying to solve these issues, and more of just grabbing a headline or trying to rise up a talking point and distract from some of the more serious issues that we're facing in this country.
We have seen when the National Guard went into D.C., we saw that the mayor we saw that the crime did go down. So I think that should be the end goal.
We've been seeing crime go down for a long time in D.C.
No, it went down dramatically after the National Guard went in.
No,
it went down
we're
dramatically.
just talking about hearsay. I think what you're talking about is hearsay, not actual statistics.
No, it's stats. There was a record crime that went down. Once the National Guard.
I haven't seen that. I don't think anybody has seen that. Because the FBI has reported that violent crime in D.C. has been on the drop.
No, so you're saying that when the National Guard went in, that the crime didn't go down in D.C.?
Well, I'm saying I haven't seen any statistical data to point to that. And
there is. Even the mayor, she came out and said that she was thankful that the Guard came in. So let's pivot to New York. There's a new Quinnipiac poll that shows former Governor Andrew Cuomo getting a 10-point bump since Mayor Adams announced last month that he was dropping out of the race. But Zohran Mamdani, he still leads Cuomo 46 to 33%, with Republican nominee Curtis Sliwa trailing with 15%. So Cuomo's still down by double digits. Katie, what do you think?
Well, you know, it's amazing when you can go around and you can make all these promises of what you're going to do when you aren't burdened by facts and telling the truth. So that's why Mamdani's coalescing quite a coalition around him. Now, when you know things are getting bad in New York City, when I sit here as a Republican strategist and I'm hoping Andrew Cuomo can win, right? That tells you how bad the situation is in New York City. But what will actually happen is going to happen, or people are going to be able to go in there and look at and say, you know what, I don't agree with everything Cuomo did as governor, but I know Mamdani is a radical, and I know he can't be trusted. I know he's going to destroy our city, and that's why they're going to take a chance.
Dave, I want to get your thoughts on this about the California's gubernatorial candidate, Katie Porter. She's been caught on video verbally abusing her staff, The View defending her. Did you see the clip? I want your thoughts on what do you think? Oh, wait, let's play the clip then. Okay, let's play it.
So you don't
I feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question? The do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it. I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it.
And then she was caught on video telling one of her staffers, get out of the shot. So, Dave, obviously, we've all been in those situations where we're not at our best, but I want to hear what you think.
I think if she was wearing a suit and tie, we wouldn't even be talking about this. The fact that we know there's a double standard for women in politics, it's unfortunate, it's real. I think we've probably all seen it and experienced it. And this just speaks to that magnitude of, unfortunately, the double standard that we face. Look, we've seen our president push back hard against the media, even say really derogatory things to members of the press. And it seems totally fine, obviously, with much of the electorate. But I think once we have that change in terms of the gender switch there, it becomes a double standard. I mean, I watched some of the videos. I didn't see The View, but I saw them and I said, hey, look, this is a few moments out of over a half a decade. I think if you took a few of my worst moments or any of ours over the last half a decade, it would portray us in not a fine light. But I think this really speaks to the double standard in politics. And I think overall, I'm hopeful that she's able to speak to that. And this election is still over a year away. So I think there's a lot of time for her to do well and for the voters to make up their opinion.
You do have a point. I'm going to give it to you. You do have a point, because women, when we are rude, it's taken very differently than men. You do have a point. Katie, your thoughts?
First of all, I'd like to say on behalf of Katie's Everywhere, she does not represent us. We have rejected her membership in the International Coalition of Katies, and hopefully the Karens will accept her. But when I see someone like Congressman Porter behaving that way, what I just keep going back to is, why is this always being defended, though? It seems like we've seen this happen a lot of times from prominent liberal women. Vice President Kamala Harris had one of the highest turnover rates in her staff when she was in the Senate and as vice president. We've heard horrible stories about now Congressman Porter, but also, oh my goodness, can you imagine the stories about the salads and the binders being thrown in different Democratic senators? There is a real problem with these people who have these short tempers. They treat their staff horribly. I'll tell you, there's a double standard. You want to say that? Yes, it can be taken differently when women do it. But if we had a report, there was a male candidate who was running for governor, and he had dumped scalding hot mashed potatoes on his wife's head, or that his wife had filed a restraining order against him, don't you think we'd be having that conversation? We aren't talking about that when it comes to Congresswoman Porter. So I'm saying there definitely is a double standard. It goes some ways.
But it should be on both sides, both genders. Let's play The View and how they reacted to all of this. Let's listen to this.
You know,
maybe she's having a menopausal
well, she's
moment.
you know, listen, anything is possible.
I just read a study that says that cussing, people who cuss a lot are smarter, which I take a lot of comfort in.
I have done this. I have been rude to people. I have said to journalists, no, this is my answer. And they'll say, no, but I've asked other people. I say, no, this is what I'm telling. This is what I'm telling.
You're not running for elected official.
No, but I've been rude, and that's my point.
And I understand. I would expect something differently from her.
No, she's just another human being.
Well, the menopausal moment, I don't like that. That was ridiculous. All right, we got to leave it right there. But thank you both for the great conversation, the both of you, Katie and David. Thank you, guys.
Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on Newsline.